All right, so now it's time to make up an adapter plate to mount the motor. So you can see here I have my original plate. It's 1/4 inch steel, nothing wrong with it. However, the new motor, the holes don't line up at all. So I have a piece of 1/4 inch plate that I can use kind of a scrap and make it intermediate. So I'm just going to measure this guy up and make it a little bit bigger, but not too big, because down here where the front, you see the slotted holes. I want to make sure that I leave room around those guys. So I may cut like a circle, kind of dog ear them on the new plate, and just make myself intermediate plate so I can place the new motor there. And then I can even maybe slide the motor side to side on that plate if I need to like line up the pulley better or something like that. So on the side of the box on this particular motor, you can kind of see here, it has a diagram. It shows you all your measurements. This is pretty handy, so I'm glad I saved this cardboard for the mounting plate of the motor. So now I can make up my own plate that'll fit in between those rubber washers and the new one, and it'll be aligned properly. So measuring this guy, we're about 8.5 wide, and then lengthwise we're about 13. So that's the dimensions I'll make my new plate, because the motor mounting plate on this new motor is basically, it's about 6 inches wide by about 8 inches long. So it's going to fit even smaller radius inside here. All right, so took that big piece of metal, cut it down into the proper size, as you can kind of see here. Used a plasma cutter that my neighbor brought over. First time I used one, it was pretty fun, but I forgot to film it. But there's lots of videos on using plasma cutters. So now we're going to test fit it. Okay, so here's that factory plate. Here's our new intermediary plate. Looks like it'll fit just fine. So now I'm going to move that guy out of the way. It has like these nice rubber cushion things that I think they're original Bobcat ones, but I got replacements of those a long time ago, but they're still in good shape. And they take a lot bigger hole to work through. They kind of like pop in. And I don't want to take them out, because if I try and pop these guys out, I'm afraid it'll just jack it all up. So just need to lay this out here. This might be easier from the bottom. I don't know. So I just need to kind of fine position this guy like so. Square it up somehow, and then mark it. So once I figure out how exactly I do that, then I'll show that. All right, so after messing around with the frame little carpenter square here, the problem is my cuts aren't quite perfect, and then this plate is very irregular shape, so it's kind of hard to get exact measurements. But my primary thought is I just want to get this new intermediate plate nicely over the existing rubber mounts, and then also where it'll clear the flip it back here a little bit, you can see. And then it'll clear up here on this guy's, for the elongated hole where it sits in the stud that's in there, and it should clear, but I may have to dog ear it. I'm not sure. So now that it's like that, it should be able to flip her over. These clamps hold it in place. There, kind of get it close to my little work table here, to the edge without knocking it out of place. It's probably as close as I can go. Now let's get my transfer punches out and punch some holes. All right, so I got my 3/8 transfer punch. Just drop them in one of the holes here. Give it a good whack. Okay. Now then, we can flip her back over. See how we did. So I don't know if you can see on the camera or not, but let's do this one down here. You can kind of see there's a pretty, not real nice indentation here, and here. You can kind of see here. So that transfer punch works pretty good. So now I'm just going to take this over to my drill press, and these are 3/8 holes, and drill some holes in it. All right, so I put the original bolts and all the hardware through the bottom, and let's see how it fits now, this new plate. All right, so that fits pretty good. So now it's just going to be a matter of seeing when they squish down. I have a feeling these bolts are going to be too long, because so I'm going to maybe see if I got some a little bit shorter bolts to use, because these rubbers do squish down quite a bit. And I was also just thinking, they sell that like vibration isolation foam stuff, and I might be able to get a few of those pieces to put under here that'll kind of help fill this void up, and as well to help eliminate motor vibration, because the thing is always kind of annoying that way. And it may just been the old motor, but since I'm doing this, might as well see about doing that. All right. So I found some of these little vibration pads. They're actually made for like an air conditioner, but they work pretty good. They're just like rubber and foam. But these actually fit pretty well perfect underneath. They'll fit just fine, and I have them, so I'm going to install those kind of in random places, or not so much random, underneath here. So I have maybe lay it out like that or something. I'm not going to worry too much. It's just kind of extra bonus padding. And then I'm going to go ahead and snug the bolts down, and then that way I can go ahead and mock up the new plate, see how it fits inside the Bobcat, and make sure there's no issues. And the other thing I want to add. All right, so I put the plate in that we made down here, and it's all the way in as far as it'll go. I'm just going to take a few measurements and kind of see. So now the front of the motor is going to sit somewhere right around in here, and it looks like I don't need to be really any higher than 17 inches. It's kind of going to be about the max if I go kind of up against that bolt. Somewhere between 17, approximately, I'd say. It's kind of hard from that angle. Let me flip it over this way. Yeah, so about 16, 17 is going to be my clearance there. And then side to side, it's going to be hard to tell. So I got the pulley right here, and I got a 6-inch pulley coming, because on the original motor, the low speed was a 7-inch and the high speed was a 5-inch, so I just split the difference. I figured I'll try a 6-inch pulley and see how it does, and that's going to go around this guy, which is for the hydraulic, and then the other pulley down there. So we shall see once I get the pulley, then I can do kind of the side-to-side motor placement. But now I know I got about 16 or so at the very, very front. If I come back a little bit on the motor placement, I can go up to about 18 or so. So keep under 17. So now we need to measure the motor and see what all we need to take off of the motor so that it'll fit. And then we can kind of mock it up.